Hey guys, it's Sammy Hack again here, and today I got something a little bit special. I've had a few guys ask me about this floor shifter swap, and I've been meaning to make this video for probably a year now, but it's just been such a pain in the butt to get the console out of here, all the seats out. So I figured it was a perfect time to make this because I'm gonna be throwing some sound deadening in here. I'll be doing the whole floor because I did the whole rear deck already, and then the back of the back seat, and then under the rear seat, but I haven't done from the rear seat here all the way forward. I'm gonna be doing that today, but then when I throw the console back in here after I'm done, because I got to take all the seats out of here, I'm gonna be showing you guys how I hooked up the console. It's not how a professional would do it, but I've done like 5 of these swaps already and never had an issue with it. But yeah, I'll show you guys how to unhook the column shifter. I'll show you guys how I mount the floor shifter to the floor. So yeah, first things first, I'm gonna clean up all the garbage out of here and take the seats out, then take the console out last. Well, now we got all seats out of the way. Now to take this guy out. And then I gotta clean up all this trash before I start. Time to get this guy out of here. That required 2 hands. There we go. I wonder if I could get rid of all these wires too, because this was for like a airbag shut-off switch. You just get rid of it, right? Alright, so I cleaned up most of the garbage. I'll be covering this whole floor here. I didn't show you guys how I took that out because I'll be showing you guys how I'm putting it back in, so I didn't figure there was a point there. Alright, I'm going to pull this rubber floor out. Alright, now that I finally got everything out of here, I'm probably just gonna like time lapse it because it takes forever to do this stuff. And just time lapse me doing the whole floor, and once I get all that done, then I'll show you guys how I did the floor shifter here. So alright, here's a little update. It's been about probably an hour since I started. Haven't made that much progress, but it's looking good so far. So I got this whole trans tunnel done all the way up to the rear seat there. Now all I have is the 2 floor pans right here where I'm sitting. I haven't even tapped into the second box over there, so I'll definitely have enough for the 2 front doors, and plan on doing the ceiling too. So pecking hot in here though. Probably gonna start the car and let the AC run for a while so I don't roast in here. So you gotta use this guy to like heat up the mat so it's easier to roll it. Anyway, I'll continue on. Well, after 3 hours, I'm finally done. I will not be doing the floor shifter tonight, so I'll just continue the video on for tomorrow. Yeah, finally got all this crap in here. So I'll just show you guys what I did in here, and we'll pan to the next day. So yeah, I did, you can see, I started out with kill mat, then decided to save a couple bucks and go with this Scylla stuff. Then I got it all the way covered, and then like halfway up the firewall there. So yeah, then my plan is to get a carpet in here at simulator point there, and then tomorrow I'll throw this guy back in and I'll show you guys how I mounted it, what you need and whatnot. Yeah, the whole reason I want a carpet is because, I don't know, carpet just makes it nicer, and it'll match my Marauder door panels better and the floor shifter because those both have carpet on it. So just got to figure out what color I need. I think it's a just plain charcoal. Get all the seats out. I might scrub this floor mat or this vinyl just to make it look a little bit better in here. Like, this is the cleanest I've had it since I've bought the car, so I'm gonna try to keep it that way. I got the carpet back in the back seat, ready to go for the console swap in the morning. All right, so it's the next day here, and I'm gonna get started on this floor shifter swap here. First things first, we pop this little cover off here, and then you'll have your column shifter here. Obviously, I always forget which way it goes, but I know it's kind of hard to tell you guys what to pull off. There's a little pin that goes right in here. Punch that out. This should just slide right out. But keep in mind here, you do have these two overdrive wires. Yeah, anyway, you got the overdrive facing out this way. So this is how it would sit inside here. Just like that. So, and there'll be like a cylinder in here that rotates. Then I took this cylinder out when I had the steering wheel off, when I was doing the steering wheel swap. So that's why this is gone. But yeah, it'd be sitting there like this. And you just want to pound out this pin right here, and this will slide right out like that. It doesn't matter how these wires get trimmed, just as long as you have enough to wire down to your console here. But yeah, once you pop that off, you won't need this anymore. I just saved it just in case to show you guys. These wires here will actually connect these wires. So the two little white wires come off this thing, and then they have a little connector that connects to these wires. So what I did is just unclip that and then cut these wires, because you want to keep your overdrive obviously. So you cut these wires, and it doesn't matter how these get wired, just as long as there's a circuit going through them, I guess. And then you just extend that wire down here like I did, which would be these ones. Then depending on how your wires are, so like down here you got those two little white wires, and you just run these wires all the way back up here, just connect them like that, and then your overdrive button should work. That's pretty much all you have to do for up here, unless you want to take this out too. Then you got to take your steering wheel off. You might be able to get it out without taking off your steering wheel, but I just figured it was way easier to do it that way. It gets rid of this whole mechanism right here that moves up and down. So when you go to throw this back on, so then you have nothing protruding out of here. And then there's a guy that actually makes a cover to cover this up for when you do the floor shifter swap. I think his name is John Lilis. I don't know, I'll just put his tag up here to show you guys. He's the one that runs the can shift paddle shifters. This piece right here, so it'll just go over your ignition like that. Just like that. So now this whole space that had the column shifter on there is all covered. It fits really nice on there, and then you don't have a big hole here. So I should mention that he only makes these for the 2005 to 11 Panthers. These will only work on the 05 to 2011. Because with this column cover here, you can buy or source yourself Mercury Marauder piece, or a Crown Vic LX Sport, or a Mercury Grand Marquis LSE to cover that up for the pre-05 models. With the 05 plus LX Sport, you're gonna have a heck of a time finding an LX Sport column cover, or especially this piece to cover that, like an OEM one. So this guy came in clutch and started making these for the people that do manual swaps or a floor shifter swap for the 05 plus vehicles. But anyway, moving on to the floor shifter itself. So none of this comes cut obviously in your vehicle, so you just want to take a razor blade and just go right down the middle here. There shouldn't be any wires going over the trans tunnel here, so you don't got to worry about that. So yeah, once you get this floor all cut here, you can just kind of keep it that way. First, you want to pull it back like this so you can get this metal bracket mounted. So I am just going to keep it mounted to the console because I don't feel like taking it off to mount it, then mount the console on top of the bracket. To show you guys how it's mounted. All this console piece is mounted to this bracket, is under this storage compartment here for the lid here. So this will be taken off, and there will be a few bolts under here that slide. See these bolts right here? So they'll come up through this metal bracket. Then you just throw some nuts on there to secure this piece to the metal bracket. Before I get too far ahead of myself, there's actually something I missed here. Behind here is where you'll find the cable shifter, or the cable for the trans. See, I don't have it in there because it's on the back of this little cylinder here. But there's like a little ball that I'll show you on here. See how this snaps onto that? So it'll be the same up here. So all you do up here is just snap that little cable. You can push it off with your finger. That should be in this area here. Just unsnap the cable from the little ball there. And from there, you can actually use the column shifter's cable and like reroute it back under here. And then it comes out like right here. Then it'll barely reach the floor shifter, but it will work. So you don't need a special cable for this. You could just reuse your column shifter cable for the floor shifter. I would show you how this one was routed, but I had to steal a cable off of a 99 P71 because my factory cable was actually rubbing on my header, and eventually it snapped. So that was fun. So I have this one routed a little bit differently so it's not rubbing on my header. So now I'm gonna place the whole console itself onto the floor here. And actually, I'm gonna show you guys real quick. So see this AC vent here? I actually sourced myself a vent piece from eBay. They're pretty hard to find, but it helps a lot if you want to keep AC in the rear seat. Yeah, it just snaps on there like that, and then the airflow actually goes through the metal piece here and comes out the back. Once I go manual swap eventually, I'll have to get rid of that anyway, so I'll probably sell this piece if anybody wants it, because I'll be getting a big hole right here, so it'd be kind of useless. All right, so I'm gonna throw this in the middle here. All right, so now that I got this console here, all looks really nice. So this stuff will all get tucked under here after I'm done, so don't worry about that yet. And it's also nice having this vent piece because then it shows you how far you need your console toward the dash. Kind of gives you like a reference point, so you're not just guessing where you should put the console because it might be too far back or too far forward. That's why it's nice having this. So this is from a Marauder, but you get the little cubby with the LX Sports. So if you can find one of those too, that's a good way to reference how far you should have your console forward to. Or if you don't, you just put it where it feels most comfortable for you. It's probably where it gets a little bit ghetto for some of you, but so I just grabbed some self-tappers. 1, 2, and then a third one back here. So you don't want super long self-tappers. Don't do what I did. I used like, can't remember how long, but they're like that long, and they ended up rubbing on my drive shaft. So you just want super small ones, just enough to like puncture through the sheet metal. Oh, and I should also mention, I have done installs without this metal bracket here, but your console will sit way lower to the floor, and then you got to figure out a way to mount this to the floor. What I've done is just like used a block of wood or something to mount the block of wood to the floor here, and then mount that to the block of wood. But you kind of like have to measure it right, otherwise the piece that goes here won't sit flush with the console. Or if you have it too low, then you got a big gap between the shifter itself and the piece that goes here, and it looks funny. So if you can, always get the metal bracket with the console if you can. Just makes life way easier because it's already formed to the tunnel here, and it just plops right on top of there, and it's easy to mount it. Get started. So you just want to rip a self-tapper through there. There's 3. So there's 3 on each side. See that? Just make sure you get small enough ones where they don't touch your drive shaft. Like, yeah, the ideal way would be to get some really small bolts and go from under the car so this thing doesn't move. But if you know me, I like my self-tappers. So make sure this is like level and not cocked to either side before you start throwing self-tappers in there. So I did try like angle them up kinda so they're not pointing straight at the drive shaft, because I think these are short enough, but I don't want to take the risk. All right, so now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this thing ain't going anywhere now. Obviously it's Ford's cheap plastic, so it will move. With all that mounted, I just like to tuck this stuff up in there. Just makes for a cleaner look. So whenever I get carpet in here, I'll have to do this again because I don't think I'll find a Marauder carpet or Alex Sport carpet or whatever. But yeah, so there's just a little gap in between here where the vinyl flooring or the carpet can go up in. Just tuck it nicely up in there. Up here requires a little bit extra finessing simply because we got this air duct here. So just want to try tuck that up in there as good as you can. What I'm gonna do here is actually tuck this over the air duct or air so you can't see it. All right, so after all that's done, I'm not worried about this one because the seat will cover it. Got all that tucked nicely up in there. Come to this side, do the same thing, just like that. Now it's all tucked up in there. Now to mount the shifter itself. Part's pretty self-explanatory. Just line it up with these bolts here. Move that out of the way. And snap it right in there. That's a little off pad. There we go. And these, they actually have their own little clips they snap into. Just like that. Yep, there we go. And we're getting there. Don't mind all these wires right here. I actually hooked up some USB. This one broke on this side, so I'm waiting on a new one. Right there. Yeah, I hooked up some USB so we could charge our phones or whatever, since I got rid of the cigarette lighter. And then I didn't feel like wiring up the one inside here, so I just did USB ports down here. That's what all those wires are for. Anyway, when you get to the cable shifter part, probably should have showed you guys before I put it back here. But it looks kind of hacked, but what I do is find this little ball right here. Since this isn't a sport cable, it won't have the little bracket that slides right on top of here. So what I do is just find this little ball here and push that against this plastic and then zip tie it secure so it won't move anywhere. That's how I've done all my floor shifter swaps. Yeah, it looks tacky, but nobody's gonna see that, so, and it works great. And then there's that little ball I was talking about. You just snap that right on there. So we're gonna throw this back in here. Just like that. Now we're all good to go. So this isn't secured yet, so that's why it's sliding around. Once you put the cup holders in here, it'll secure this down. And mine's kind of broken, so that's why it's kind of all loose, crappy. My indicator light here, which I have not wired up yet. I was gonna try wire it in with the dimmer switch over here so it turns on when I turn my lights on, but I just haven't got that far yet. I could just wire it up to the cigarette lighter, but it'd just constantly be on. This next part's pretty easy. So I still haven't gone and bought 2 more of these, but these are little 10mm bolts that you just put right on here. Oh shoot. Yeah. And you throw one up here. If I was smart, I'd go buy 4 or 2 more of these so I have 4 secure connection points, because I only got 1 here and 1 up there. But I've been driving the car like this for a 1.5 years now, and it's really all you need to secure it. Grab your old ratchet. These don't need to be like super tight, but tight enough so it doesn't move around, obviously. All right, so now that's all secure. Keeps falling off, but now the console's secure, that's secure. Now it's time to throw on the final piece here. This is our final piece. Don't ask me where I got this. I got it on Facebook. Some dude posted it up and I was the first guy to message him. So little Crown Victoria trim bezel piece. Don't remember who he was because I got it like 2.5 years ago. I mean, I could go look at my messages if you guys want to try to find him, but I doubt he's making these anymore. So it'd be kind of worthless to go through that work to find him. But yeah, I just got super lucky on this. But yeah, so an easy way to install this is take it out of park, slide it down like that, and it'll just drop right in there. You'll have these little tabs right here. And then it'll just snap right in there. All right, there we go. Getting there. Now I just got to throw the seats back in here. And actually I'll crawl under here just for you guys. So here's the old P71 cable I'm using. I fed it through this little hole here. It's not where the normal shifter cable goes. The normal one I actually covered up right there. So when you take your column cable off the column shifter, you can just feed it back through here until you have it out here. Then what I do is just tuck it up in here, then feed it behind here, then come here to the console here. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, it'll just barely reach the floor shifter, but you can use the column shifter cable for the floor shifter. If you're stressing about trying to find a specific LX Sport, Marauder, or LSC cable, don't stress about it because you can use the factory column shifter cable for that. So but yeah, that's how you do a floor shifter in a non-floor shift car. I hope this helps some of you guys. I know I'm still trying to learn like how to be more informative and stuff. That's how you do a floor shifter from a column shift car. Let me know what you guys think, and if you need more info, I'll try and make another video on that. Well, that'll conclude my floor shifter swap install. I hope you guys learned something from this video. I probably missed a couple steps here and there, but try to give you guys like the easiest way to swap it in without having to hook up like a shift interlock and all that garbage. So yeah, if you hook it up my way, just make sure your parking brake works or nobody messes with the shifter while it's sitting there, because you don't have to push in the brake to switch gears. That's just one downfall of the way I do it. But yeah, if this video helped, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll try to keep more videos coming your way.